Let's say you're this little bushman running through the desert, off to catch an antelope for your meal for your family, and you come across a Tesla. You don't know what a car is, you don't know what a wheel is, you don't know what metal, carbon fiber, you don't know any of that stuff. But if someone said to that bushman, let me tell you what that Tesla can do for you. It can help you go catch the animal. You can keep your energy, and you can make sure that you got all the energy you need to go, take the animal down. You can chase the animal in your Tesla. You can, once you catch it, put it in the trunk, take it back to your family, go pick up water, all that kind of stuff. But because that bushman was so fearful and didn't know what they didn't know, they ran off. Every one of us is limited by our thinking, by our experience, by our childhood, by our conditioning that doesn't allow us to see certain Teslas. And when we see them, we run from them. And sometimes they're so foreign to us, we cannot even see them, yet they're right in front of us.
Welcome to the MINDTRX podcast with breakthrough ideas to live your best life possible and how to make it happen. I'm Paul Scheele, and today we'll be joined by Colin Sprake. Colin Sprake is a serial entrepreneur with over 3 decades of experience in building multi-million-dollar businesses in many industries. He's the passionate owner of 14 businesses and eats, sleeps, and drinks entrepreneurship. Colin founded Make Your Mark Training and Consulting to coach and mentor others and help them realize the full potential of their businesses, and to do it with heart. He's the author of the bestseller Entrepreneur Success Recipe and co-author of Stand Apart with Dan Kennedy and Power Principles with Brian Tracy. Hello, Colin. Good to be with you. Thanks for being a part of this podcast.
Yeah, you're most welcome. It's my pleasure to be here and serve you and serve all those amazing humans listening today.
Oh, thanks. What I'm most interested in is the huge background that you have as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, as a business builder. And it's the concept of having an entrepreneurial mindset. I've long been of the belief that people shouldn't go to school so that they could go to work for someone else, but they should go to school so that they can be strong enough, intelligent enough to be able to have a business of their own that they could employ themselves in. But whether they work for themselves or whether they work for someone else, an entrepreneurial mindset is still really key. Could you describe what you think an entrepreneur is, or who they are, and what is an entrepreneurial mindset in your opinion?
Yeah, Paul, I think there's a number of pieces that bring that puzzle together and what have you. I think the number one thing to me in terms of a really good entrepreneurial mindset is that willingness to learn. There's stuff we know we don't know, and there's stuff we don't know we don't know. So it's all that a really good learning attitude to me is number one, because that's how we grow. That's when we become stronger, both business-wise, personally, and professionally. And I think that the mindset is a piece to waking up every day saying, can I achieve? Can I get the results that I want? Can I go and do things that will take me to that next level? It's just that expansive openness that a business owner, or even somebody in their career, to excel in your career, doesn't matter what it is. It's like, in terms of excelling, are you open to learning from others? Are you open to accepting the advice that other people give you and the mentorship from other people? And what fascinates me so much is how many people believe they can just do it themselves or do it better. When they learn from a mentor, they attempt to manipulate the information to suit them better and do things differently. I'm like, just follow what your mentor says, because that's one of the most profound pieces I've found over the years of how many people aren't, they go to ask for help, but then they want to do it their way. Just listen to what mentors say to you, trainers, facilitators, parents, whatever it might be. The listening skill is number one. Number two is the openness to learning. And then from there, most importantly, is that implementation of taking things to the next level and testing what people have given you and realizing that it's super powerful in every way and form.
Well, I love that idea of we need to learn how to learn to do our lives. It's one thing to learn, it's another thing to learn how to learn. And what you're giving is a set of skills of learning how to learn to succeed in business. And very often when I got my business going, I would look at the things that weren't working and want to do them better. And you describe this in the book when you look at what you've done and you call it wrong, or you call it failure, or you call it bad. What ends up happening is something of a curtain drops. Our energy drops. We go into self-castigation. And one of the most powerful motivators of future behavior is self-compassion. And so if we could, and you describe it in one of your books, this idea of reframing the situations that didn't seem to work out as well as you might have hoped, and really use those as stepping stones for future skill, future development.
Yeah, but I mean, Paul, we have to all know that there's stuff we don't know. So to chastise ourselves or put ourselves down or tell ourselves we're not good enough or we suck at something or life is terrible or we failed or whatever, I'm like, if you knew it and you keep on doing it, that's a different story. But if you didn't know it, be kinder to yourself. It's one of my favorite things to say to people, compassion, whatever you want to call it. I'm like, just be kinder to yourself. Because you didn't know that, and now you've had a learning experience from it. Great. Move forward now and utilize that in the rest of your life. But don't keep on making the same mistake, because that's insanity. At the same time, then it becomes mistakes and failure and whatever. But a lot of times we just don't know the stuff that we're meant to know. And once we learn it and we move forward with it, that's when life really starts to alter in anything. Doesn't matter, business, career, whatever it might be.
Yeah, for me, there's this wonderful phrase that came from the field of self-esteem. It says, we're always doing the best our current awareness permits.
Yep.
So how could we do any better? Now that we've had the experience and realized now we could do better, great. Reinforce that, say thank you for that win. I mean, you made mention of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on your personal education through failure, right? And how many, I mean, if we just spent our time together talking about how many times we failed trying to get where we want to go, nobody would think that the entrepreneurial genius that you and I display has anything to do with our education, but we know that we learned from our life experience.
It's the best university fees I've ever spent, at the University of Life, where when I meet an entrepreneur and they say to me, Colin, I've never lost money, I'm like, then you haven't pushed hard enough. We lose money from making decisions. And that's where, from making decisions that we think are right, but maybe we have a learning experience because of them. And this is why I'm such a big fan, Paul, of mentorship, and getting guidance from people who've done it already. I have this analogy, and I'll share it with you and your audience, Paul, because it's something that I think will get people really thinking. So I call it the Tesla in the desert. And let's say you're this little bushman running through the desert. You got your loincloth on, bone through the nose, whatever it is. You're running through the Sahara Desert, off to catch an antelope for your meal for your family. And you come across a Tesla. And this Tesla's been put there, and it's, you don't know what a car is. You don't know what a wheel is. You don't know what metal, carbon fiber. You don't know any of that stuff. You just see this thing. You think, number one, it's dropped out of the heavens, and this little bushman stands there. He sort of touches it and is very fearful, very nervous, what have you. Eventually, just like throws his hands up and just runs off. Assegai in hand, I'm going to go catch me an antelope. But if someone said to that bushman, let me tell you what that Tesla can do for you. It can help you go catch the animal. You can keep your energy, and you can make sure that you got all the energy you need to go, take the animal down. You can chase the animal in your Tesla. You can, once you catch it, put it in the trunk, take it back to your family, go pick up water, all that kind of stuff. But because that bushman was so fearful and didn't know what they didn't know, they ran off. This is the thing I say for everybody listening today is, you have Teslas in your desert. Paul, you have them. I have them. And the way you get past those Teslas is having someone be that person that describes to you what your Teslas are. If someone said to that Bushman, step aside, maybe in their own little Bushman language with clicks and clacks and whatever it might be, and said to that Bushman, let me tell you, this is what this car can do. This is a car. This is what it can do for you. This will help you. You can hunt, you can take, you can transport, you can do everything. The Bushman's head would explode. They would be fearful still. And then once I've done one, maybe 2 trips, they'll be like, my life changed. I've now made my life easier. Yes, you can say we'll probably destroy them being Bushmen and destroy them enjoying the life that they truly want. But at the same time, I'm like, yes, but we're all about improving, being better, moving ourselves forward. So I ask every one of your audience today, write down, what are your Teslas in your desert? Some of them you might know, most of them you won't know. But one thing I can tell you, find mentors, find guides, whatever you'd like to call them, Sherpas that can help you see your Teslas, explain them to you so you can make your life better, improve your life. Every one of us is limited by our thinking, by our experience, by our childhood, by our conditioning that doesn't allow us to see certain Teslas. And when we see them, we run from them. And sometimes they're so foreign to us, we cannot even see them, yet they're right in front of us. Like I call it the windshield wiper principle. Sometimes these things are right in front of us and we cannot even see them. So I want you to think about this today. Who can help you take your mindset to the next level, your business to the next level, your career? Because you've got Teslas. And if you say to me you've got no Teslas in your desert, then you are not human. We all have them, because there's all of us know, as we sit here today and we listen to this call and we chat, you and I, Paul, is we all have Teslas. And man, we got to find those people that can explain them to us, support us and guide us to being stronger, better, more malleable, more flexible in the way we do things so we can grow and be stronger as human beings.
It's a wonderful concept of having blind spots in our awareness. So if we have a certain way of solving problems, we have a tendency to apply those problem-solving strategies, and we don't recognize the unintended consequence of what those solutions are causing. And oftentimes what we have to do, what Einstein talks about, is change the level of thinking beyond the level of thinking that put the problem there in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we start seeing into our blind spots? How do we start recognizing opportunities right where we're planted that we haven't been able to see? I remember working with a client, Colin, that had taken a training in how to be a coach, and he was very interested in leaving a very successful business to go on and be a professional coach, a mentor to others.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wonderful plan. Absolutely. Figure out how it is you're going to do that and when you're going to do that. And in the meanwhile, apply all those strategies right where you are. All of a sudden, he catapulted in his own career, grew his business significantly. So let's go to this idea of applying what it is we think is going to be best. I'm thinking of all the years you spent as a trainer and as a speaker and as an entrepreneur growing businesses. And eventually you saw that there was a easier, more fun, better way, more engaged, allow you to live into more of the values that you were interested. What was the moment of transformation where you began to see the Tesla that was in your desert?
Yeah, Paul, you'll probably be a little bit stunned by this, but I think the piece for me that was probably the most revealing, and I think it happened for many people, is that COVID was life-altering for me. You know, it was one of those things where, I think a lot of people, especially in the world we live in, Paul, I'm not saying it's necessarily for yourself, but I know that for many, many people, we run programs, we run 3-month programs, 6-month program, 1-year programs, whatever. And eventually I actually felt a prisoner to my business. But I had to keep on delivering. And then COVID came and shut pretty much, I had an 8-figure company and it shut it down overnight. We went from pretty much 8 figures to zero pretty damn quickly. And that was, life altering for me. I went into a whole bunch of fear and what have you. And Paul, the most amazing thing happened for me. And there's a whole thing called the chaos cycle. I'm not going to go into today on this call or this podcast, but I want you to think about, one part of the chaos cycle is stillness. And when you go through chaos, is to go through the stillness and let it settle in for you of what's truly happening. Yes, I had a lot of fear. I'd never done a course online in my life before, Paul. Everything was live, in person at events, venues, hotels, what have you. And all of a sudden I went online, and in 3 months we did $1 million online in online programs, and people said to me, how did you do that? I'm like, I just decided if I don't do something, well, all of a sudden it's going to be catastrophic to the well-being of my family and everything else as well, and to my business and our employees and everyone that was part of our team. But that still didn't fulfill me, Paul. So it's like now I'm just doing the thing that was maybe a prison in the beginning. Now I'm doing the same thing, but I'm doing online. I don't call us, this. I always joke about Zoom. I think we become Zoomans over the last 3 or 4 years. So it's so fascinating. And it took me about 18 months of really doing some internal searching. And I said to myself, what's the number one thing I value the most? And I said, my number one thing I value the most is freedom. But I didn't have any freedom. I was like, everyone wants my time. Everyone wants me to coach. Everyone wants me to be at events. I mean, I used to joke like, why don't you just put me on the pallet and ship me to the next event? I feel like part of the setup for the event. Just pop the little guy out, put him on stage, do your 1 day, 2 day, 3 day event, come back and whatever. And I was like, that didn't fulfill me. So I said, my number one value is freedom. So I started to look at that in detail, and I really dug into it, Paul. I think everyone listening should think about this for themselves. What's your number one value? Mine was freedom. I said, so when I design my next business, my number one thing I'm going to do is make sure it fulfills that value. Yeah, for sure. All my other values, integrity, trust, honesty, all that kind of stuff, still part of it. But my number one was freedom. So I said, let's look at that and build a business, gives me the freedom I want. It feeds my soul to do what I want to do, so that I can actually go and do other work that really feeds me as well around, programs I do around mental wellness now and mental health, which are like all my philanthropic things that I do, because this world is in a catastrophic situation right now around mental wellness. So I looked at that and got into looked at the freedom part and said, that freedom is so important to me. How do I design a business around it? And that took me a while to get clear on that. But guess what I did? I said, I am good at running events. I'm good at speaking. I am really good at creating materials and what have you. But what I really want to be doing is taking businesses and getting them to a level that's astronomical, off the charts, that I can't even comprehend. So I went to some of my key mentors, and I found mentors that I'd really cherished, and these mentors that I admired. And I looked and I said, well, I don't know some of these people, but how do I find them? And I found some of these mentors, got introduced to them, and they helped me see my Teslas. And that's when my world completely changed, where I was like, now my mind is in such a different place, where when someone says to me, I never forget when I first started out, I was like, wow, I can make $1,000 an hour. Now I'm like, I can grow a business to, not now, but then it's like, oh, now I can grow $1 million business, a $10 million business. Now I don't do anything unless I can make it hit 50 million in 12 months. And people say to me, how do you do that? I'm like, I went and found people who had done it. Like, if I cannot stress that enough on this call, find your Tesla unveilers that'll unveil your Tesla. You call them blind spots. I like the analogy of the Tesla, because it just gets people thinking of how many times they've touched something and run away because of fear. In fact, sometimes it's so in front of us that because of fear or anxiety or whatever, we run away from it, when it's the number one thing that could help us live our value. And that value of freedom is so important to me, Paul. Like, I look at all the stuff I'm doing now. I am more on purpose. more enjoyment of life, more soulfully connected, and doing what, honestly, without being religious on this call, doing God's work, what God put me to do on this planet, and that serve humanity in a way that I've never done it before.
Well, and I'm not sure that it has to be religious. It's really a spiritual commitment that's true to your purpose, your reason for being on the planet. So I definitely want to applaud that and hold it up for all of us as a guiding light. I think when we come into the world, there is a purpose that's written on our heart and mind, and we are always finding our way to that fuller expression of our lives, the fuller expression of our life purpose. And it seems to me it gets back to one of the principles that you referred to, the 19 critical skills of an entrepreneur, where it's commitment management. What are you committed to? And if you do a review of your busyness and say, what am I committed to in this busyness? And is it really serving the greater purpose that we're on? I think that's an amazing step to take. And is it in times of reflection? Is it in times where we get still in the chaos of our lives that kind of wisdom can come through?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of times, stillness is one of the pieces that really has impacted me probably the most over the last probably 10 years, Paul. And, I was never a meditator. I never meditated, didn't believe in it, had all the excuses in the world. My mind's too noisy. My mind's too this. I cannot focus. Getting to that place of nothingness will never happen for me, and all the negative things around why I cannot do it. And then when I started doing it, it was a game changer for me. Like this morning, I did an hour of meditation, visualization, and gratitudes. It's the start of every part of my day. I got up at 5 o'clock this morning, started doing my meditation for an hour, and then thereafter got into visualization, gratitude, journaling. And typically for me, it's about an hour and a half of my day sets me up for the rest of my day. And I wish I'd learned this sooner, because that stillness amplifies my results through the day. Where some people say, I don't have the time. You've got to make the time. You've got to make the time for that stillness, because I think, and this is my own opinion, Paul, is that when people have stillness by themselves, most people don't want to be by themselves or with themselves. And I'm like, when you fall in love with you and you're okay being quiet and still with you, that's when you amplify things the most.
That's great.
It's awesome.
I totally get it. And it also gets back to a principle that you've taught for a long time about taking responsibility. We need to take responsibility for our day, the results we create. We need to take responsibility for the thoughts that are running through our minds. And if we don't pause to really recognize that thoughts come and go, it's our ability to stay focused on what it is we're choosing to create that's going to make the biggest difference. And I don't know that we can ever really control the mind, because mind does what it does. But what we can do is we can direct it. Getting back to the Tesla metaphor, we can punch the buttons in it and it will self-drive us. And very often, if we don't establish before we start the day is going to unfold the way it does, and we'll think we're victims of the world. We're victims of what unfolds, instead of really being in a place of mastery, being in a place of being able to drive ourselves and our energies toward the destinations we're choosing to create.
Completely. And I think there's a piece to me I joke with so many people about. I'm like, if you're not enjoying your day, look in the mirror, because that's the only person that can change it.
Yeah, and it's not a joke. It's a truth.
It's a serious statement too.
It's a reality. Well, I had the opportunity early on in my life. I mean, back when I was going to university, age 18, that I learned meditation from a 5,000-year tradition of master-disciple relationships. You talk about mentors. Mentors have always been an important part of my life and my growth. And there is this idea that sometimes we're going to become the masters. We're going to become the mentors of others. And it really does make a lot of sense to take good notes about our own lives, about our own learnings, and how we might be able to be of service to others going forward.
Yeah, I mean, Paul, I think, the piece for me that I would love all the listeners to think about is, what are you doing to really drive your results? Yeah, here we are at the beginning of a year, whatever year it might be for you in the future, or whenever you listen to this recording. I want you to think about it. Have you set your intentions for where you're going? Have you set your goals, whatever you'd like to call them? Sitting on the table behind me, I have a 100-page book of all my goals for the next 20 years. And then I take it in the beginning of the year and I break it down into what I want to do for the year in line with those goals. Up in my bedroom, I have probably 20 different thermometers of each goal I want to achieve. My favorite piece, it's always, family at the top, personal goals in terms of health, fitness, spirituality, what have you. And underneath that, all the companies. And I fill those thermometers in every month. I look back at the month and I get to the Sunday of, like now, let's say it's January, and the first Sunday of February. I'll look back at all those thermometers and I'll color them in of what I achieved for the month of January. And I do that all the way throughout the year. And I look at the mindset around that. I know where my vibration goes. I live by 4 words, Paul. What we believe is what we vibrate, is what we radiate, is what we receive. It all starts with what we believe. So I believe in all my goals that are on the wall. I believe in the 100 pages that are sitting, this book behind me of all my life, all my goals. And it's not just goals. It's like goals around character, intellectual goals, goals around my who I am as a person, relationship, parenting, business, career, everything. It's all my goals. But I know the energy I put into those is what's going to result in the outcome that I'm looking for.
Gorgeous.
If people, I just wish that believe, vibrate, radiate, receive is such an important piece that even eventually I decided to create a process for people to help understand how to do that. So I have a process I use every morning, I use every evening. It's called Awaken Your Brilliance, but it's about awakening the brilliance of the human being so you can change your inner vibration to your outer world results. So when people tell me, and you might have experienced it, I'm probably more direct than most people. And I've just learned that over the years. Sometimes, being too soft doesn't really help people. So I will say to people, I see, you can tell me your financial situation is great. But when I say to you, okay, here's a $10,000 program, you're like, oh, I have no money for that right now. Or I have no money, not even for a $500 program. I'm like, so your money situation isn't that great. How would you like to be offered things and never have to say no because of money? When you believe your financial situation can be strong and is strong, you'll vibrate that, you'll radiate that, and you'll receive amazing amounts of money. But people are not congruent with their outer world and their inner world. They talk this, but the inner world is completely the opposite. And then they wonder why they never get to where they want to get to. And this is in any area. It could be money, spiritual health, fitness, whatever it might be. It's like, if you learn anything on this call today, please, listeners, take away that you need to be congruent with your inner world and your outer world. In fact, you are fully congruent right now. Just sometimes the words you use aren't congruent, because what you say and what is truth, people can see. So rather just be truthful and say, things aren't working for me right now financially. Great. What can I do to shift that, to get a belief that's going to support me on that journey to shifting my inner vibration so that my outer world results change?
Well, I love what you're saying, is the idea of being coherent, as above, so below, is that concept of purpose. that you described so nicely. And being congruent is as within, so without. And when we have those two working for us, we're always in this co-respondence with that deeper source of energy and power that's within us to do the work that we're here to do. And
Absolutely.
something that you wrote, it was almost a passing line, and was that you have to feel it to reveal it. This idea that the vibrational energy is absolutely essential before you're going to actually receive the result. Now, you also mentioned earlier in this dialogue about gratitude, and I'd like to kind of finish up today on your thoughts about gratitude, why it's so important. To me, it's an energetic that happens before it's revealed. We're feeling it before we reveal it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about your gratitude practice. You build it into your day every day. Why do you do it, and why does it make such a difference?
What a beautiful question. What a great way to come to an end here as well. The piece for me that's most interesting. So let's first understand, before we go to gratitude, most people are always wanting. I want a new car. I want a new house. I want a new wife. I want a new husband, whatever it is. All this want. The challenging part is, if you're so busy wanting, what emotion is in alignment with that is the feeling of lack. So when you feel lack, guess what you attract more of? This feeling of, if you say feel it to reveal it, if you're feeling lack, you attract more lack. So this is the one thing I want you to all listen to today, listeners, is that what you are feeling is what you are revealing. So when we go into a state of gratitude for me, and remember, gratitude, please, this is one of the most important parts about gratitude. Gratitude is not a laundry list. I'm grateful for Paul. I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for my car. I'm grateful for my home. There's no emotion to that. Gratitudes are really deeply felt. I'd rather you do 3 or 4 gratitudes a day, but deeply connect with them. Because when you are grateful and you feel the gratitude, the universe sends you more to feel that, to have the same feeling, to feel grateful about. So get deep into it. So when I do gratitudes in the morning, I go back to, and it's all different pieces of my life. I have 4 areas of gratitude that I look at, Paul. My first area of gratitude is I'm grateful for whatever in my life. It's just completely whatever it might be. Grateful for the beautiful view that I can get to see from my home every single day and see the ocean, and I can feel it. I can feel every time I walk down the stairs in the morning how amazing that feels. So I always, what am I grateful for? Just very general. It can be grateful for anything you want. That's my first section. The second section of gratitudes is, what am I grateful for around my business partnerships? People can interchange this for career, for my business partners, my, our teams that work with us, for the different companies, and then our customers. I'm a big fan. So, and I want to say business partners, teams, and customers. I'll be like, that business partner I met with on a call yesterday. We had such a meaningful, connected call. Get into the feeling of all your gratitudes. So that's number 2 of the gratitudes. You can do it for career as well. Number 3 in gratitudes is gratitude for self. So I'm grateful for my health, that I wake up and I get to walk down the stairs every day, and I can run down the stairs and up the stairs, and I get to work out. I'm grateful for the intelligence that God gave me, that I can be smart and be able to give feedback to people, and be able to be creative. I love serving that client yesterday. That helped so much with just being creative. So gratitude for self is number 3, and gratitude for number 4, and this is probably my favorite of all the gratitudes, is gratitude for my mentors and teachers. So I look at those mentors and teachers that that have taught me something, that have helped me along the journey, that have guided me around different pieces in my life. And I go back to when I've sat down with them. Like, I go to lunch with a mentor every single month, sometimes even twice a month. Like, it's so important to me, because I know I have Teslas, Paul, that I cannot see. And some I do see, but I'm still not understanding of them fully yet. So I'm fearful. I go to my mentors for them to guide me. So those are my 4 gratitudes. And when I go through them, and I'm finished them, the feeling that is in my body is just like elation, bliss, incredibleness. And sometimes I'll be like, and I know that, there's things happening in my world that are just flowing to me so beautifully because of those gratitudes. And all of a sudden, more money flows in, or another client shows up, or another business opportunity, or something amazing. Someone writes me just an incredible email and says, thank you for how you've served me and my family and what have you. That kind of stuff for me, Paul, just happens because of the state that I live in. And everyone can do this. But remember, I'm going to say it again. It's not a laundry list. It's get into the feelings of every one of your gratitudes, because what you feel is what you reveal. If it's a laundry list of thanks, I love Paul, I'm grateful for Paul, I'm grateful for my, the wind, I'm grateful for the sunshine, I'm grateful. It's like, it's so arbitrary. Get into the feelings. I'm grateful for the sunshine that gives me vitamin D into my skin. I stood outside yesterday and felt the sunshine come down on me, and my whole body felt so amazing as that vitamin D, impregnated my body so I could feel healthy and strong. That's what we need to be doing when we look at gratitude. Too many people don't understand. It's the feeling that gives us a result, not just yep, yep, yep.
Super distinction. I love it. And as you were going through it, of course, I'm feeling the awesome power of the things that I'm most grateful for as well. And there's a book written called The Power of Awe. I mean, it's been scientifically revealed that it changes our brain, it changes our neurochemistry, it changes our physiology to be in these states. And by the law of attraction, as you've been saying here, you are going to get more of what you reinforce in that way. You're reinforcing what our colleague Lynn Twist calls the great fullness of life that's always being revealed to us. So thank you so much, Colin. I mean, it's beautiful. I love that distinction. I hope it's okay with you that I steal it and use it forever, because
with love, my brother, with love.
Okay. You're now a mentor for all of us. So thank you so much. Peace and blessings.
Thank you very much as well. My sincere pleasure. And, I just wish everyone continued success, continued amazement, and just go back to the 4 words. What you believe is what you vibrate, is what you radiate, is what you receive. So I trust you're going to receive everything from this call today and from ongoing calls with Paul and his team that just get you so on track with where you want to be in every way and form.
Bye for now, my friend.
Cheers, my friend. Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Colin Sprake. You can learn more about Colin at mymsuccess.com. That's mymsuccess.com. And now in the second part of the podcast, it's just you and me. I'll tell you how to use the Paraliminal sessions in the MINDTRX app to easily handle obstacles and move toward the success you want, especially as it relates to Colin's message. If you're new to the relaxing Paraliminal audio sessions, they use breakthrough technologies to activate your whole mind in only 20 minutes to help improve any area of your life. Let's get going. Welcome to the follow-up to my conversation with Colin Sprake as we explored the key aspects of the entrepreneurial mind. I really loved what he was talking about, especially in terms of vibrating at the level of energy that will attract to us those results that we most sincerely desire within us, that are most congruent, most on purpose with our lives. There was an important thing that he said. It's not that you want it, because that puts an energy of lack into it, but that you vibrate at that level. So when I think about what Paraliminals might really help you put his ideas into practice, I came up with 4 ideas. One is the idea of being able to believe in yourself. Second is to believe in your goals, not just believe that you will achieve them, but believe that you're worthy, that you're able, that you're now creating and receiving them. Next is the idea of taking action, effective action that will bring about the results you desire. And finally is this idea of gratitude. Gratitude is such a key piece of what he was talking about. He said 4 words that he lives by: believe, vibrate, radiate, receive. He said, whatever it is you sincerely believe in, that is what you will then vibrate with, and that's what you're going to then radiate out into the world, and that's what you're going to receive. It's the concept behind the law of attraction. He has attracted a lot of wealth into his life. He's a very successful entrepreneur, businessman, program developer, author, and he really does walk his talk. I love that meditation came for him much later in life, whereas for me, it came quite early in life. And there we were really resonating on the importance of it. And I think that paraliminal technology is a great way to meditate or align all of your energy systems to help you bring forth your greatness within to accomplish whatever it is you're here to do, whatever it is that you truly desire to create in your life. So let's talk about this first idea about believing in yourself. Early in the conversation, I talked about when we fail or when we think we've done something bad or wrong, we get in a very wrong energy. We kind of beat ourselves up about it. And I made the point that self-compassion is far more important. He absolutely agreed with it. And when you're learning to learn, it's very important that you believe in yourself. And this concept of self-esteem is critical. So the self-esteem supercharger is very on point to what it is we're talking about. Self-esteem is you're always doing the best your current awareness permits. So if there's some mistake or some error, some result that you created that it wasn't what you wanted, it's okay. Be your own best friend, be your own best support mechanism. See yourself as a person who can do better, who can create what it is you desire. Self-esteem supercharger, super powerful paraliminal, one I use quite a lot early on in my business growth. Second one is self-love. Now, if you've seen these podcasts, I'm a big fan of that one. It's so good because it gives us a sense of the arc of our lives. We see our future, our adult self, and we see our younger self, and we meet in the middle with our present self. This idea of self-love, self-compassion, powerful motivator for you to overcome any issues that may have been less than ideal up until now and put you on track to creating what you want. Second area is the area of believing in your goals. And here the belief paraliminal, super powerful. Prosperity paraliminal is that belief that you have all of the support, the energy, the need, and there's nothing to be afraid of. He said that what stopped him very often, the Tesla in the desert metaphor, is you see it, you don't know what it is, you fear it, you run away from it. This idea of the prosperity paraliminal is you need not be afraid. Walk toward the thing that you fear most. You have the resources within you to be able to handle whatever comes up. And the third paraliminal in this area is the intuition amplifier. He talked about trusting your gut and this idea that there is an innate intelligence that I feel is always guiding us. And if we could tap into that inner knowing, we'll actually move beyond whatever mindset we've been in. We'll elevate to that next level of thinking where we can spot new ways of acting, behaving, achieving what it is that we truly desire. It's this idea that with intuition, we can see into our blind spot. We can know ahead of time that this is a good path, even though a lot of other people might say, no, don't do it. When you know in your heart of hearts that this is what it is that you're to do, you'll take that next step. There's an intuitive guidance, an inner guidance system that if you can initiate that, trust it, learn to trust it, it's a powerful resource within you, and the intuition amplifier will really help you do that. Third area is this idea of taking action. The paraliminal, called joy, is about the energy of your passion, what's in your heart to do. So the joy paraliminal is a good way to focus your energy each day. Colin talked about having a daily practice of meditating on what it is he's choosing to create. The joy paraliminal is a great way to facilitate that 20 minutes. You're off to the races and you're really in tune with the energy within you to create it. Second, paraliminal, which could be very helpful in this area of taking action, is wealth motivation. The wealth motivator paraliminal is a way of thinking about what it is you're choosing to learn into, to grow into, to create. Whatever it is you're going to endeavor to do that you haven't done up until now, there is going to be some new capacity building, something that you will be learning. I started out my dialogue with Colin talking about he's really sharing learning how to learn to succeed in life. And an important way for us all to be able to do that is to recognize that part of my process today is going to be getting better at what it is I need to do. Wealth Motivator is a great one. He talked about all of his goals that he has established, and he's noting, making notes of progress. He talked about it as a thermometer. Making notes of progress, filling it in, that he's moving the ball forward in the right direction to get where he wants to go. I think that small concrete indicators of success is a powerful way to do that. Wealth motivation will really help get that going in you so you can start the day and finish the day with a good review and see what kind of progress you've made. The final one in this area is called New Action Generator. Very often when we want to create new results, we're going to be taking actions, in some cases, we've never done before. In one of his books, he talks about what sacrifices you're willing to make. He called it the sacrifice plan. And I didn't get to talk with him about that in my podcast with him, but it's an interesting idea, isn't it? What are you willing to give up that no longer serves you? What are you willing to focus on in terms of time, energy, and resources that are of most value to you? And you remember him talking about this concept of being committed to something he truly values. The idea was the commitment management is what I referred to. He said, that's absolutely it. To be able to manage your commitments is to manage what actions you're willing to take. When you know that you're willing to take it and you can envision that ideal end result, it seems as if everything in the universe moves resources in place to make sure that you'll succeed. The final area is the area of gratitude. So believe, vibrate, radiate, receive, and receive with that gratefulness, that gratitude, feeling that energy in advance when you can feel it. The words that he used is you feel it to reveal it. Whatever it is you truly feel, you're going to become a magnet to receiving much more of it. So what paraliminal would be better on this area of gratitude than Paraliminal by that title, gratitude. This idea that the universe is sufficient, it's always giving us enough to do what we're here to do. And whatever's written on your heart and mind to do or be, to have, to get, gratitude is going to be a powerful energy that will support you in receiving it. So enjoy it. Thanks so much for being a part of this podcast. See you on the next one. Thank you for joining me today. I applaud your willingness to maximize your potential. You can easily use the Paraliminal audio sessions in the MINDTRX app to stimulate your non-conscious mind, that is your inner mind, to reduce any resistance in your life and to propel you toward the success you want. Go to www.mindtrx.com/go. That's www.mindtrx.com/go. These amazing audio tools have helped millions, and I encourage you to bring them into your world today. Be sure to be back for more episodes of the MINDTRX podcast. You'll find insightful conversations with authors, experts, and thought leaders, all devoted to improving your life's experience. Thank you again for being here on our MINDTRX podcast.